Hello everyone. I haven't posted a video on Facebook for some time, partly because I've been banned. I have no idea what I've shared that is so controversial or offensive to somebody or some people, or apparently, or whatever the case may be, that I've apparently broken some terms and conditions of Facebook or some bullshit. One thing I need to get off my chest first of all is that, you know, coming over here wasn't a case of just, oh, I come to Thailand to have a holiday or just to fuck around and not really do anything with my life. I came over here to kind of try and build something of a life, because I didn't really have a life, certainly not a full and fulfilling life in England that I should have done. I would have liked to have had there, but that's a whole of a story. And there's personal reasons for that, and also just external factors that are involved in some of that. So I came to Thailand, first of all, just to come and just see a bit of the world. I'd already been to Australia and I'd like traveling, so I thought, well, you know, thanks to my ex-partner, an opportunity came up where I was able to, travel around Asia, Southeast Asia, for a little bit. So I took the opportunity, and why not? It would have been otherwise. I wouldn't know. I don't really know what I would have been doing over the last 5 years. Probably messing around and wasting time doing absolutely nothing, like I'd been doing for the years that led up to me leaving to come to Asia. So, it was an obvious decision. It was a no-brainer that I was going to come over here, and really, part of it was obviously because I wanted to come and see my ex-partner and try and what I thought was perhaps could rebuild something, or naively I thought that maybe we could work something out, but of course it didn't work out, and I ended up going off and going to Pattaya and doing all that stuff that young guys do. Anyway, but that's what happened, and so that ended. I've already spoke about this before, but yeah, so that was that. And so then I met my partner now, and my wife now, and things have been great ever since. Of course not. Well, some things have. Some things have been fairly stable, and some things have been rather rocky patches here and there. Like any relationship, there's things that keep you wanting to stay in the relationship, and of course there's times where you want to get out of it, and there's times where you're not sure whether it's the right relationship for you, and whether it's going in a direction that you thought it was going to go in, or you want it to go in, and so on. I don't expect, of course, I'm a difficult person. I was a difficult person before I even got into a relationship. So of course, especially when you consider my wife's she's somewhat of an outspoken person, and she's got, I wouldn't say a fiery personality, but she's a passionate woman. She's a woman that's not completely opposite to me. I mean, she has some tendencies and personality traits that are a little bit like myself, but I say on the whole, she's more or less a complete opposite. She's certainly more optimistic and hopeful, and more positive and outgoing and extroverted than I am at times. But it just depends, because I can be those things as well. It's just not as much as her. And so, obviously things fire up at times because we're two different people. We have different ideas and thoughts and ways of looking at things and dealing with things because of the way that our personalities treat different situations and react to things or don't react. I tend to be more reactive than she's more proactive in her approach to things. Although I can sometimes be, she can be reactive at times herself. So, but anyway, that's the thing. Is the problem with me in relationships has always been that I've always, before I even got into it, before I even got to my first relationship, I've been dealing with anxiety and depression, and of course when you put, especially when you put two people together that have got those things, it's kind of a recipe for disaster. And then when you've got someone that's not those things, that's also difficult because on the one hand, that the other person doesn't quite understand what the other person is going through because they don't have it. So on the other hand, there's an element of having to be patient and understanding and tolerant. But on the other person, from the other person's point of view, it's a thing of trying to get the other person to understand, and that's the difficult thing because again they don't have it, so they don't really fully get it. Of course, everybody has certain aspects of things like depression and anxiety because there's certain symptoms that everybody has. It's just that with depression, for example, it's just more of a persistent set of symptoms, like mood swings, or just a general sense of feeling low, or just unhappy, and recently going on a holiday, sort of not really a holiday, a little break really. I had a bit of an anxiety attack, and it's one of those things that's when your other half has some, whether it's a fantasy or whether it's some kind of ambition or just something that he or she wants to do, and you're sort of an obstruction to that, it makes you feel guilty, it makes you feel bad about it, and it sort of makes you question whether you're right for that person, and that's certainly been something that's come up again and again and again over the last couple of years. That also happened with my ex-partner as well, and it's something that really annoys me, frustrates me to hell, because I'll say, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, but then when it comes to it, I can't face it. I can't get myself into a frame of mind that's needed to get on with something, to actually finish something properly. And that's always been my problem throughout the last, say, 10 years. Well, even really since school, really. It's just, doing something for a little bit and then getting bored of it, and then doing something else and getting bored of it, starting something and never really finishing it. It makes life difficult because you never really achieve anything. You sort of achieve things in a sense. You start things, but you don't. There's no satisfaction from it because you never. There's no reward at the end of it. It's just that you took a step forward in the right direction, but you didn't go through with it, so there's nothing from it. So really, it's sort of pointless, really, and you could say, yeah, well, at least I tried, but it's not good enough. It's not a good enough excuse because you didn't. Did I really try? Did I really try to do things? Could I have done more? Could I have done better? And sometimes I think no. I think I did give it my best, and oftentimes I don't think I did. I think I have a lot more in me. I had a lot more in myself, but I just didn't. I couldn't control my mind and my thoughts and my anxieties enough to see things through. And that's my problem. That's always been my problem in relationships. It's always been my problem with achieving anything in life, working towards any kind of goals where there's a little bit of stress every now and again, where there's challenges. It's just, it seems to be something that runs in my family, apart from my sister. It seems to be something that's just this persistent thing of procrastination and just being unmotivated and not really having any genuine ambitions. So it just, like I said, it makes you wonder at times whether I'm right for somebody, or whether even I'm right for anybody, for that matter, or whether anybody's right for me. This is the hellish experience of depression and anxiety. Is that it destroys your self-confidence. It destroys your ability to really communicate with people openly and properly and mature. As an adult, it ruins everything, and it's a very, very vicious cycle. It's very extremely difficult to break it, even with and this is from somebody that's been through counselling a couple of times. It's just not worked for me, and believe me, I have tried different techniques and meditation and breathing and so on and things like that over the years, and nothing really works. And I did try sort of try medication, although I wouldn't really class it as. I wouldn't really say I was very serious about it, although I should have. Maybe I should have been, but I can't stand the thought of being sort of just reliant upon antidepressants or anti-anxiety medication for the rest of my life, and I just would feel like a junkie, I guess. But not. Maybe junkie is not the right word, but. I just don't want to be reliant on things. I've never really liked that. I don't like relying on people anywhere, and I certainly don't want to rely on something just to make me feel a little bit happy. And even if I did go on to medications, I don't really think it would. I don't really think it would be as effective as people make medication out to be, because it's only to take the edge off things, and is it really a natural way? It's one of those arguments you can have for hours and hours and hours, because on the one hand you say, well, depression's not a natural stage to be in, psychologically, so. Some people talk about medication sort of reversing those effects over the long term. Maybe that's. I don't know. I don't really believe that. I think it's. I don't know. I have a thing about things and people trying to change your mind and who you are as a person, because although it might, potentially those medications may have some positive aspects to them, the side effects, and of course, the longer you're on them, the more reliant you become on them. And so at some point in the future, I'm sure you might want to come off them. Who knows what the damage might be from taking them, and who knows what possibly irreparable damage it might have on your mental health. Might actually cause more problems. So I don't know. There's a whole thing of medication where I just would rather just not go down that route. And while it is extremely difficult to be me at times, I'm still happy and glad that I am myself. But I wouldn't wish anybody to. I wouldn't want anybody to be like me or to be me, because life is hell, and that's putting it very lightly. One of the things that bothers me is when I feel forced into doing something that I don't really want to do, and I don't have a problem with getting out of my comfort zone from time to time, but I think one of the things I like is notice in life. I like to have notice about. Up front, I want to know what I'm going to be doing. I don't want to just be turning up. So I want to. For me, there's a certain level of anxiety involved in things anyway. So when it comes to doing something that's kind of extreme, or some, well, maybe not extreme, maybe that's a bit of an extreme word to use, but something that's not particularly normal for you, if you haven't done it very often or done it at all, or just something that you just don't normally do. Of course, there's always a certain level of anxiety, even if you don't have anxiety like as a disorder, or you don't have any real like serious mental health issues. There's always a level of a certain level of anticipation and anxiety about things anyway. But when you throw into that, things like jumping off a cliff, or kayaking or something on the bloody ocean, or just something like that, there's something where there's an element of danger involved in it, I guess is what I'm getting at, then of course for me and for people like me, there's a certain reservation about it. There's a certain level of, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know. I honestly don't think, I don't know whether I can do this. And sometimes what people don't understand is that whenever I do anything where there's a certain level of danger involved, I have to psych myself up. And I mean, really have to try and keep myself in a very rigid mindset just to get to the start of it. Never mind actually doing it, just to get into the point before I do something. And often the times I'm okay before I start it, and then when I start something, I get overwhelmed with anxiety and panic and fear that I can't go through it. I just cannot do it. And if you haven't been through that, then you don't understand. And if you have been through it, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's this crushing feeling of I just can't do this. I can't do it. I can't do it. Like, I can't do it. It's just like that. It's one of those things. And maybe that's, and if that means I disappoint people, then that's that. But I've often tried to at least push myself into doing things, even though I didn't want to do it, and I have no really interest in doing it. But I've really have tried more than enough times to do things to get out of my comfort zone, to try to do something new in life, and to keep myself, engaged in this life that I have for however long I have it. Because I don't believe in just living and existing and just waking up, shitting, eating, sleeping. I believe that life has to be, there needs to be an element of a little bit of fear in life. There needs to be an element of adrenaline out of life from time to time to keep you alive, to give you some sense of meaning, and just something that makes you feel proud of yourself for trying at least, even if you don't complete it, for at least trying to overcome something that you was petrified of, or you just didn't want to do, And that is, it's a different story for people. It's a completely different thing from just having the usual, being anxious about something and having a full-on anxiety attack. It's difficult to explain it, really. It's just this, in a way it's just kind of like it's like a cage or something, or the walls closing in on you quickly, and you want to get out of there somehow. That's probably the best way I can put it. It's horrendous. It's a horrible, horrible, horrible feeling. And I just wish that certain people would understand that. And it's not just a show of, or being overly dramatic, or I'm just putting it on or something, or it's just an act. Because believe me, it's not. It's me. It's who I am, and I'm sorry that I disappoint you, and I'm sorry that I've let you down, and I've disrupted your plans, and you know, maybe I've spoilt the fun or something. I spoilt the day for you or whatever, and it's not something I meant to do, and I didn't intend to do it when I set out, when I said I was going to do this. It's you know, it destroys you. It destroys your self-esteem over the years, and it's 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 terrible. It's terrible. And it just makes you question, you know, when you go through these things, it just makes you, you know, what am I anymore? I think you get to a point where you just start thinking like, what use am I to people if I can't go through with anything, if I can't commit to anything that someone's booked for me to do or something. It's, you know, you just can't be relied upon. I don't like that feeling of like letting people down. That's not who I am. I always try to give something my best, and I always try to see through things. But yeah, I just oftentimes in life I just can't do it. I just can't get through it. I just can't do it. So that's that.